We are here in the offseason. Unfortunately, Maryland having a great regular season and winning the first playoff game, we ran into a team that was all too familiar in Wisconsin. And they did the probably impossible in football, beating a team twice in 1 year. And both games were kind of ugly from the get-go, as Wisconsin proved that if you have an elite offense and you have a running back that is unstoppable and then a NFL prospect at quarterback, you can do just about anything you want. So we hop into the offseason, and the one thing that I want to do is get better on defense. I think that is going to be the big thing in recruiting. But before hopping in, let's just recap the season a little bit. How about our former top recruit, Deontay Minor, throwing for a top 5 in touchdown passes in his lone year starting? That is actually pretty incredible. I'm glad to see our old recruits doing well. The NCAA had a lot of 17 and 16 touchdown receivers and tight ends. Very surprising there. A lot of touchdowns being scored through the air this year. And this is the kind of the category I want to get better at here. Tackles for loss and sacks. I am just waiting to recruit a guy that can be here and make a difference in that sack category. But we'll see what we can add here in the offseason. So my thought going into this offseason was, you know what? I would only leave Maryland if there was a job that really blew us away. And surprisingly, we did not get any major offers. We got Nebraska, FAU came knocking, and Navy. Those are really like the top 3 schools we got offered, and none of those were intriguing at all. All bad teams, not even worth leaving Maryland for. So we decide to stick around for another year, and more surprisingly, none of our coordinators got offered jobs. I was like very shocked that, none of our coordinators left. So we will rock with the same offense and defensive playbooks come next year. So let's just look at the players we signed here in the regular season. We have a bunch of good players coming in, including a 4-star middle linebacker in Cheyenne Myers. I'm excited about him. We have another backup to replace Shiv Keyshore, Taylor Myers at quarterback. The guy I'm most excited about on the offensive side of the ball is Avery Thomas. He will be our number 1 receiver right at the get-go. And then Damari Smith is another speed guy to add to the offense. He has 96 speed. He is a different player than what we've had before. He's just a big guy that has a lot of speed. He's a true running back. But our number 1 recruit is 1,000% Andrew Brewster. He is a top 50 prospect in all of football coming into this college football season. A 5-star, 92 finesse moves, 92 block shed, 84 power moves. He is a number 33 ranked overall player in the country. He is a day 1 starter for sure. He reminds me of a Bosa, either Nick or Joey, more of Joey. But now we have another guy we want to add to our board. Actually, he's already on our board. At least add to our recruiting commits. And that is the big 5-star player, Donnie Armstrong. We were in a neck-and-neck competition with UNLV, but having the luxury of putting all of our points on him, it secures him as a recruit. We end up having 13 total, which is a lot less than a lot of schools around us, but we end up with the number 23 ranked recruiting class, which is one of the highest Maryland's ever had. And looking at the top classes here, Texas A&M, who we defeated in the playoffs, they are the number 1 class. Penn State, obviously in our conference with Ohio State. And then the rest of the guys around us, not really, any surprises here. USC, Miami, Texas, Georgia, Arkansas, Florida State, all of those schools. But I'm banking on, our big playmakers coming in and making an impact rather than a huge recruiting class. I don't think we have that luxury yet. Not everybody's lining up to go to Maryland. But in the offseason, we have some big, training boosts here. We use the college football revamped training tool, which you can either get better at in offseason training or you can actually get worse. And one of the guys that I really love here is Surfy McDaniel. He had a decent year last year, and we'll go over the complete roster, but he went up +9 in play recognition. He is very, very strong in the middle, 6'7", 316. This is what we needed because stopping the run was our biggest hurdle last year, and probably the reason why Grantley Wormville ran all over us in the national championship and in the Big Ten championship. Granville Wormley. I can't even say his name. So let's go through the complete roster. Obviously, Mac Anderson is the starter. Taylor Myers is going to be the third string coming into this year. Jose Springer is an athletics quarterback. And if Myers doesn't play, he's going to get redshirted automatically. Hopefully, he doesn't transfer, but I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep him at third string, make sure he doesn't get in so he keeps that redshirt status. And then Damari Smith is going to be the highest rated running back on the squad at 79 overall. But Lucas Gordon is probably going to be the starter. He has 30 carries in his career, but I really like him. When he got in, he had like an 8-yard per carry average last year, which is absolutely incredible. At receiver, we have a ton of new weapons, including the freshman 6'4" Avery Thomas. Not a fast guy, 85 speed only. Reminds me a lot of Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, a great route runner. Maybe not the fastest guy, but very athletic and can run a lot of routes. Jake Newell comes in. He's the number 2 this year. And then Tate O'Hara down here, he probably is the guy here that has the most experience, along with Nico Astro, who is actually the lowest overall receiver on our squad this year. So you're going to see a lot of different offensive players coming into this season that's going to be touching the ball. And I think that's the way, we've kind of built Maryland up. Everybody is going to get a chance to contribute, and that's kind of what we're doing here. I think offensive line is an ongoing process in recruiting. Donnie Armstrong is going to start as a true freshman at center, but we don't have the strongest offensive line. So I think, Mac Anderson is going to have to make some things happen that maybe aren't there. So he's going to have to be a big part of our success this year. And Surfy McDaniel is definitely going to be a big part of this defensive line. I'm hoping for a big uptick in sacks and in tackles for loss this year with him in the middle. And then obviously Andrew Brewster, the true freshman, coming in as well. And then we obviously have Paul Parsons, who was our number 1 recruit last year on defense. He's going to be rushing the passer also. But our weakness is going to be our secondary. We have an 80 overall Taylor Savage as our number 1 cornerback, 99 awareness he has, but at safety we are kind of hurting, so there is a big chance we're going to put a cornerback as our starting free safety this year. So just want to give you guys a quick look at just what we look like on the practice field. And the first thing that I noticed right away is Mac Anderson looks good. He looks good throwing the football from the pocket, staying in the pocket, being strong. You can just see right here, he's making all the throws. There is Tate O'Hara in the game. He's going to get a lot of burn in the slot. And I think, Mac Anderson's going to have to find some chemistry with the freshman Avery Thomas on the outside. We're going to shift him around. There is Lucas Gordon, who he's going to start a lot. And here is Gordon and Smith in the game at the same time. We're going to see a lot of 2-back sets, especially from the shotgun. That's where he works best. But Anderson is going to spread the ball out. You can see Justin Carter's back for year number 2 as a true sophomore. He and Mac Anderson are roommates, so they're going to have some chemistry. But Anderson's going to make a lot of throws. That one was almost a big-time play, but a great play by the preseason All-American MJ Kennard. But you can just see what we're kind of thinking on offense. We're going to spread the ball around. It's not going to be one guy making an impact. There is the freshman Andrew Brewster there for that sack. And it's going to be quite the season. I don't know how we're going to look versus, obviously the elite teams, but the way we look right now, it looks very, very good. Mac Anderson's getting rid of the football, making accurate throws. And here we're just testing the waters here, going deep to Avery Thomas, a couple of jump balls. But, Thomas is going to be a route runner. He's not going to be a speed demon like Levante St. Brown is. So hopefully he can have a big impact through the air. I also wanted to give a look at Damari Smith, a true freshman running back. He is about 5'10", 5'11", 96 speed. One thing I like about him, besides that I could not do from Josiah Ducks, is that Josiah Ducks had terrible carrying. It was in like the 50s. Well, Smith is 96 speed, and I can actually give him the ball instead of worrying about his fumbling. Even though Josiah Ducks didn't have too big of a problem, I was always afraid to give it to him because of that low carrying rate. So we're going to see a lot of different packages this year. So here's what our schedule is going to look like. A lot like last year, to be honest. We're going to play Bowling Green again as an early warm-up game, but we start out with a Big Ten game versus Iowa right away. We'll play West Virginia. Also, that Illinois game in the middle of our schedule, we have a lot of incoming freshmen visiting to see that game early on. That's our first home game. Then we play Florida State, number 12, number 10 Penn State. We play Ohio State, who is number 1 once again for the second year in a row. That would be crazy to play them as the number 1 team once again. But this is going to be a tough road this year. Obviously, we are missing, our seniors that really did make an impact on this series. But we'll see how this young team responds. And Mac Anderson stepping up as a year 2 leader. We'll see how he does. So let me know what you guys think of the offseason and predictions for next season after getting 2 5-star recruits here in the offseason, one on offense and one on the defensive line. Hit subscribe, hit that like button, stay tuned, let's get it, let's go.
I like getting money, I got time to get it. Target on me, so my car's a tenant. Dancing with the devil, I don't bargain with it. Bobbing in the dash, and the stick is with it. And I hit the 4-5 on the west side. But I'm from the east side, this how we slide. This how we ride, yeah, this how we ride.